So, who is Sabrina Carpenter? Hey everyone, welcome to Princess Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with my blind reaction to Skin by Sabrina Carpenter. This is a donation reward for Smurf, and yeah, I'm not entirely familiar with who she is. Because here's the thing, I've heard the name around on TikTok, on other social medias, various places. I've heard the name mentioned, but it's always in such a brief way and kind of just like a hand wavy way to where it's like, oh, I know nothing about her. All I know about her is that she's a pop star, pop musician, right? And I think she's blonde. I think that's it because I think I've seen a picture of her at one point. I have never heard, to my knowledge at least, any of her music. I've never heard anybody talk about her music. I don't know who she is. And I don't even know if she's popular or not. Or if she's more of like kind of a niche thing. Because like I said, I haven't heard anybody talk about her. And I haven't heard any of her music myself. And mind you, the latter part can possibly just be put up to the fact that um, maybe she's just not my kind of music. So I haven't really heard of her because of that. For those who don't know, I tend to be really into more rock oriented genres, whether it be just, simple standard rock or classic rock or metal, stuff like that. Tends to be more of my go to. My favorite band of all time, for example, is Queen. My second favorite is the Beatles. They're more pop rock, but still, you get the point. I tend to gravitate towards bands that are, and artists in general that are more in that kind of zone. Though I do listen to a little bit of everything. There is pop music that I listen to. There is country music that I listen to. There's jazz that I listen to. All kinds of genres. But in general, my tastes tend to go more towards rock. So maybe that's part of why I've never heard of her or never heard her music knowingly, because like I don't like seek out a lot of pop music. When I like hear a pop song, I like, it's usually just kind of randomly I hear it out in the wild or again on TikTok or something, and it's like, oh, I kind of dig this song. I'll put it on my Spotify playlist. That's pretty much how it goes. And like I said, at least knowingly, I have not heard a Sabrina Carpenter song. Because usually even when I hear like a song on TikTok, it either says what the song is or I at least know who the artist is. Like, oh, I know this song is by Chapel Rowan. I know this song is, I don't know, Maroon 5. Just naming another artist off the top of my head. But you get the idea. It's like, oh, I recognize this artist. I recognize the way they sing. I get it, even if it doesn't say what it is. But again, I don't think I've heard, at least knowingly, any songs by her. But I might be wrong. I might have heard a little snippet here and there randomly. But like I said, even on TikTok, when I hear Sabrina Carpenter, it's usually like in one of those kind of videos where it's like, oh, is this person like actually like talented or are they just famous for being famous kind of thing? And she's brought up in those a lot. Um, and I've heard different people having different opinions regarding that, but I obviously have none because I don't know her talent or whatnot. Um, but then it's like I like again hear her mentioned kind of in line with other pop stars of the modern era, Chappell Rowan being a notable one. And it's like I just have nothing to work off of. And like I said, I don't usually seek out that kind of music, so I've never looked her up. But today we're going to check her out. So the song is called Skin. That could mean anything. Like skin in the game or something. It could relate to body image. It could be anything. It's a weirdly specific title that is also weirdly vague, if that makes any sense. It's both weirdly specific and weirdly vague at the same time. And it doesn't give me a lot to work off of. Um, I don't know anything about what this video is going to show. I don't know like anything about the style of it or whatnot. I don't know what to expect. But I do know the donator, Smurf. Uh, from what I know, really likes Sabrina Carpenter. I've seen you post on like Instagram about her time and time again, and about her music and whatnot. So I'm hoping to enjoy this as well. I'm hoping that like the Teddy Swims video we watched a couple weeks back, I'm hoping to enjoy this one too. And maybe we'll check out more of her stuff or other artists that I just have never checked out for one reason or another. But yeah, getting to some of these music videos is kind of fun too because like I said with the Teddy Swims one, not something I've done a lot of. Like outside of like the storytelling animated music videos with like Rare Americans and whatnot. I haven't watched like a lot of just like, mainstream kind of like standard music videos. It's mostly the again those ones that like tell a story or have some kind of ongoing narrative with them. In terms of what I've reacted to, obviously I've watched music videos on my own time, but so hopefully I have enough to say with this one. We're going to give it a shot, see what we have in store, and maybe by the end of this, I'll at least be more interested in Sabrina Carpenter's music than I naturally am, I guess. Um, and maybe eventually I'll become a fan. It's possible. But let's get into this and see what we have in store. Hold up just a second there. Before you click that link down in the description below to go to today's reaction, I just wanted to take this moment real quick to remind you of all the awesome content we have on the channel. Between Monday and Friday, we have a plethora of awesome series reactions, with 2 on Wednesday. We also have movie reactions every Saturday and Sunday. I do pre-record them during the week, but upload them on the weekend. And don't forget about all the awesome gaming content over on the Princess of Gaming channel. Every single day of the week, we have some awesome Let's Plays for you. A bunch of different things to check out, and more coming in the future. And don't forget to click that subscribe button or like the video if you really enjoy the content I'm putting out. There will be more to come in the future. In the meantime, thank you so much for tuning in, and let's get this going. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So I looked up the lyrics to this because I was like getting some of that during the actual song, but it's like it's easier to connect the lyrics and figure out exactly what it's saying when you're reading them rather than when you're listening to the song, at least for me. And based on the lyrics here, it seems like the song is supposed to be centering around the narrative version of Sabrina, I guess, the narrator of the song, you could word it, and another woman kind of having kind of beef with each other over like this love triangle situation. And when I looked it up, apparently there was this rumor kind of floating around that it was centering around a love triangle between Sabrina Carpenter, Olivia Rodrigo, and I think the guy's name was Joshua Bassett. Um, I don't know who Joshua Bassett is. I do know of Olivia Rodrigo, and I've heard some of her music. Um, I didn't know she had a like there was some like rivalry or something there. I don't know. But either way, apparently Sabrina Carpenter denied this and said that the song wasn't about any specific situation or person. It was just like, a kind of blanket statement and everything, I guess. But yeah. So at least publicly she has denied that it's about that, but I mean that doesn't actually mean that it's not. A lot of artists will like say like, "Oh, this song isn't like a diss track towards this other artist," because they don't want to be seen as like that kind of artist who would do that. But if you really think about it, it definitely is. Now, I can't say for this. I can't say for this. I'm not gonna say she's like lying or anything. I don't know the full context behind this um, rivalry or whatever you want to call it. Anyway, so yeah, I I have no skin in the game to get behind this and give my thoughts on this. Let's just talk about what the song is like actually saying here. So like says right at the beginning of the first part here, maybe we could have been friends if I met you in another life. Maybe then we could pretend there's no gravity in the words we write. Maybe you didn't mean it. Maybe blonde was the only rhyme, the only rhyme. I guess maybe like that's why people were like trying to connect it to Olivia Rodrigo and everything. Um, I guess because it definitely comes across as like something that could be seen that way, but it also just comes across as like a rivalry between two women who, um, as it is going to go on to say, it's like it's talking about a man coming between them and stuff. Because later on it says like you can try to get under my skin while he's on mine. So it's like this one person is trying to get under like we'll just use Sabrina as the go to here for as like the narrator, trying to get under Sabrina's skin because she's in this relationship with this guy. It reads as a love triangle situation. It reads as that entire kind of like these girls are like getting kind of catty towards each other, getting kind of um like not aggressive, but going at each other because there's the argument of who is with this guy or who should be with this guy or whatever. It's like this is the kind of like thing with a lot of pop music that I don't connect to because it's like this means nothing to me. This the entire love triangle thing, the entire fighting over someone you're interested in. This means nothing to me. And this isn't just for Sabrina Carpenter. This is for any like pop artist who like sings about this kind of stuff because this is like notably common. It's like this is something that I feel like not everyone's going to relate to. Like there are going to be some people who have gone through situations like this for sure, but I feel like there's going to be just as many people who never have. I feel like this is like the kind of situation you see in a lot of like those teen romance movies, but you don't actually see most of the time in real life. Which honestly, you could say for a lot of things about those kind of teen romance movies, or just teen movies in general. Any kind of movie that involves a high school. It's like you don't usually see this kind of stuff. And like, for all the multiple different high schools I went to, I don't even think I knew of anyone who had gone through a love triangle situation. I went to like four different high schools because of my parents moving around a lot and whatnot. It wasn't my choice. But I went to like four different high schools, and I didn't know of this kind of thing happening in any of them. And while I wasn't like the most connected person in the school or anything, I paid attention. I did observe people. Like I didn't just like completely stick to my own thing and ignore the world around me. So it's like I feel like that's something I would have noticed, especially if it got to the point where, they were arguing about it. And I knew a lot of people in these schools who had partners, who had boyfriends and girlfriends and all of that. And it's like that. I never saw like a love triangle situation or people fighting over that. It's just not something I can connect to. And the lyrics keep going on with this kind of thing. Like, you're telling it how you see it. Like, truth is whatever you decide. So basically, accusing the other girl of like lying and spreading misinformation about what's going on. Some people will believe it and some will read in between the lines. You're putting me in the spotlight, but I've been under it all my life, said all my life. So it's like the other person is like trying to kind of like maybe even frame them, maybe even kind of like call attention to things that, they're making up and everything. And it goes on about all of this. And at the end, like, there's the part that says, I just hope that one day we both can laugh about it when it's not in our face, won't have to dance around it. Don't drive yourself insane, it won't always be this way. So it kind of like, she kind of comes to this point in the song where she's like, I want us to be able to move past this bullshit. Which is actually surprisingly mature for a lot of these songs. A lot of these kinds of songs do not touch on that. They don't go with the let's move past this. Let's try to like be better than this. No, a lot of these songs kind of revel in the bitchiness with that. So I'm kind of surprised and kind of impressed with Sabrina Carpenter in that regard. Um, it's like saying like maybe one day we'll be able to just move past this on. It kind of goes back to with what it was saying at the beginning with maybe we could have been friends and everything. So it like kind of reinvigorates the idea. Probably the wrong word there, but I'm going with it. Reinvigorates the idea of maybe outside of this situation they could be friends. It's just like I said, with the general like idea of this, it's something I personally just can't understand because it's something I've never actually seen or been through or have any kind of connection to in real life. It's something that to me, and again, I know this stuff does happen in real life, but it's like from my personal experience, it's something that for me has always only been fictional. Again, it's something I've never actually seen IRL. So it comes across as like a very forced idea when I'm like experiencing that, whether it's through any kind of media, movies, TV, music, doesn't matter, because it never quite feels real to me. Um, and maybe you could say that like okay, I've just had like good luck in avoiding that kind of stuff, and maybe so. But still, it's just like even people around me I've never seen go through this, so um there's also the the music itself, like just not talking about the lyrics here. The sound of the song is okay, nothing special. Like it sounds like, pretty much any modern pop song. Doesn't really do anything different in terms of its sound, in terms of its tune. It's pretty generic. And that's not to say bad. A lot of people take generic to automatically mean bad, but that's not the case. Generic just means that it's the same as everything else. That it doesn't do anything unique or special. That doesn't mean it's bad. It just means that it's nothing new. Um, in this situation, in this specific case of this song, it's okay. I have no issue with it. It just doesn't do anything impressive to me in terms of how it sounds. Sabrina's singing voice is very much the same for me. It's very generic. She sounds like a modern pop singer. But if like you played her song next to most other modern pop singers, I could not tell them apart unless I knew the song. If you played a song that I've never heard of and told me to guess which modern pop singer it was, I could not tell you. Because most of the time they don't have super unique voices or styles. They kind of follow a formula. And that's fine, there's nothing wrong with that. But it doesn't stand out to me. Like, for comparison, Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga has a very distinct voice. She has a unique style. You can tell when you're listening to a Lady Gaga song. I just feel like we don't get that much anymore. Where the voice, the style, the tone, everything about the way they sing is so unique and interesting and special to them that you only associate that sound with them. Nowadays, it's just like everybody just sounds way too much the same to me. They're trying to like fit into this formula. And it just feels like it feels boring. For me. And that's not every artist. There's plenty of artists out there who are unique still. But I'm just saying like as a general rule for modern pop music. And not counting artists who have been around for like 1 to 2 decades or something. I'm counting like the newer ones who have been around for maybe 5 years. This song apparently came out 4 years ago, and I'm like, what? I have never heard this song in my life. And you're saying this has been out for half a decade almost? Like, what? I mean, that's not necessarily the most unbelievable thing. There's a lot of songs from decades and decades and decades ago that I've never heard. But again, with as popular as Sabrina Carpenter supposedly is, I'm surprised that I've never even heard this to any degree. Like I've never even heard this song like on TikTok. And that's where people go to like find popular music nowadays, I guess, because of all the sound bites and stuff used for dance videos and whatnot. No, instead I'm just like hearing Murder on the Dance Floor on TikTok, and it's like, oh, this song's been out for 20 years. Excuse the fuck out of me. What? It's like, that one threw me off, because I thought, I heard that song on like TikTok, and I'm thinking like, oh, this is a new song. This sounds really nice. I've never heard this before. Found out it came out 20 years ago, and I'm like, the fuck? I have never heard of this song before. I have never heard of the artist before. Yet you're telling me this is like 2 decades old? This doesn't even sound like a song from the early 2000s. What are you talking about? Murder on the Dance Floor is great, by the way. Check it out if you, I guess like me, somehow hadn't heard it before. But yeah, this song is just, even the subject matter is just very generic to me. But it's not bad. Like I said, generic doesn't equal bad. It's not great, in my opinion, for me, at least. But it's not bad either. I might give it like a 6.5 out of 10. Just based on this one listen. I think that would be fair. It's like, it's above average. It's good. But I'm not gonna say, I'm not gonna call it great. It's probably not something I'd put on my Spotify playlist. It's probably not anything I would listen to over and over again. But I'm not upset that I heard it. I'm glad that I checked it out. It's just, again, maybe part of it is the lyrics that I just have no way to connect to. Maybe part of it is just the fact that, in my opinion, it does sound like pretty much everything being released in pop music these days. But it just doesn't do enough for me. Like the song we did a couple weeks ago by Teddy Swims. It's like, that was unique. That was interesting. That had soul and depth. And it was a lot more refreshing in a way that it's like, this is not something I have heard before. His voice is very special, very unique, very interesting. And mind you, I want to make this clear. This might just be one song. I might just not like this song as much. Maybe Sabrina Carpenter has other songs that I would like more. And I want to emphasize that, because there's some times where it's like, oh, I'll hear a song from an artist. I'm not a huge fan of it. Not necessarily bad, but not a huge fan. But then I'll hear another song. It's like, oh, this song's fucking great. It's just that other song that I wasn't big into. That can happen. Because, like, even with some of my favorite artists, it's like, there's songs I'm not a huge fan of. And that's going to just be the case with any artist I listen to. Like, there's no such thing as a perfect musician. Not every single piece of music they make, not every single song they put out is going to be, like, that great. It's like, that's just how things go. It's just like movies. It's like, not every single movie from a studio you like is going to be great. Not every single movie from a director you like is going to be great. Or an actor specifically. It's like, oh, I love Robin Williams, for example. Robin Williams, phenomenal actor. He is legendary for doing both great comedy and even drama. There's some movies out there I just don't like him in. Some movies where his performance, I think, just doesn't work quite as well. Or some where I just don't like the movie. Like, there's this one movie, I think it's called, like, World's Greatest Son or something like that, where it's Robin Williams and I want to say it's the kid from Spy Kids. Daryl? The character's name is Danny, right? I don't know. The boy from Spy Kids. But in, like, World's Greatest Son, he plays Robin Williams' son, and not to go too much into spoilers, but there's a contentious relationship between them and everything, And it goes into some interesting territory. I'll leave it at that. But I don't think that's that good of a movie. It's not like terrible, but I think it's like one of Robin Williams' weakest movies. I still love Robin Williams, but it's that one's not for me. So I want to check out more Sabrina Carpenter songs because I definitely want to see if this is more of like what can I expect for her from her in terms of her music, or if other songs might work a lot better for me. Because again, that's just how things tend to go with music, with movies, with everything. So I'm willing to give it another shot with maybe a different song. Maybe this one was just not the right choice for me personally. And I want to see like other artists like this that I've never heard of as well. Because there's a lot of other artists out there who I just have never heard for one reason or another. Um, and sometimes there's songs that I haven't heard. And like I said, while I tend to be mostly into like rock and whatnot, I listen to a little bit of everything. Like my playlist will include like any kind of genre. It's a matter of whether or not I like really dig into the song. And for the most part, it's just kind of like, do I like the way this sounds? When I listen to a song, it's like, does this sound really fun to listen to me? To where it's like, I would listen to this over and over. That usually takes a lot of precedence over other stuff. Usually. Um, Sometimes the lyrics are very important to me for a song, but sometimes it's definitely more about the sound of the song. And this is a case where I just quite didn't vibe with either. The lyrics I definitely didn't vibe with more, but the sound, like I said, is just kind of there for me. It's like it's not bad, but it's nothing special. But again, it might just be this song. So, Smurf or anyone else, if you wish to donate for more Sabrina Carpenter or any other artists like that, I think I've only heard a couple Olivia Rodrigo songs, so there's another artist as an example, because we were talking about her as well. I think I've only heard a couple of her songs. I don't know, Dua Lipa, she's a modern one as well. Um, so yeah, if you have any other suggestions, please feel free. You can ask in the comments about whether or not I've seen anything or, listened to anything. In this case, it's kind of both listened and seen because they're music videos. Um, but yeah, I'm definitely interested in checking out more. It's just this one wasn't as big for me. And that's gonna happen. That's gonna happen. If you liked this song and video, though, perfectly reasonable. Oh, I didn't actually talk much about the video itself, have I? I've been talking entirely about the song. There's not too much to talk about the video. It's Sabrina and a guy, and they're just doing stuff and whatnot in like some solitary, fancy like settings and whatnot. The most interesting part about the video itself is the weather effects. Like I said, there's like an earthquake, there's like a rainstorm, snow, and what seems to be like a dust storm or something. Um, that's very interesting, and that was a really unique idea that I don't think I've seen much of. So I'll definitely give that with the video. But other than that, not too much to say about the video itself. Um, but like I was saying before, if you really liked this song, if you really liked this video, that's perfectly fine. It's all subjective. And I would love to hear your thoughts. I would love to hear how they differ from mine, why they differ from mine. Just keep them respectful. No need to attack anyone, myself or anyone else. Just be respectful about it. I'd love to hear your thoughts. So tell me down below what you think, and if you have any other suggestions and wish to donate for a another music video and all, please just ask me about that in the comments. I'll get to you. It's really simple, no problems at all. And honestly, for most modern music videos, I probably haven't seen it, but check in with me anyway. So that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, as always, and for now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.